Hey guys, currently Monday morning here in Nashville, Tennessee. It's a week before Cletus and Cars Bristol, 2 weeks before LS Fest. So I've got a pretty busy schedule coming up, but I wanted to take you guys along with me and so you can see what it's like in the day-to-day life of being a tuner. So today we've got going on the dyno a 2011 Corvette Grand Sport manual transmission car, which I like. It has an ECS supercharger, rods, pistons, camshaft, fuel system, ethanol. It's got some methanol that we may end up turning on as well. So I just want to go over the process of what it's like as far as doing data logs, doing pulls, and some little stuff about the car. And we're going to continue this vlog style video. So anyways, let's get to the shop and continue the video there. Guys, so as always, first step, let's put a wideband inside the exhaust. So what I did was I strapped down these two front to back straps, pulled them tight, started up the car, got the car into gear without the clutch, let the car self-center, and then now I'm gonna tighten up these X straps. All right, so let's check this thing out under the hood. Today on the dyno, we got a 2011 Chevrolet Corvette Grand Sport. This one's not stock though. This one has a rods, pistons, LS3, Paxton Novi 1500 supercharger, methanol, fuel system, camshaft, E85, you name it, this is what we're working with. Went over the car actually a month or so ago and realized that the fuel pressure was dropping. So right now what we're going to do is we're just going to kind of look over everything and make sure we've got our 2.5 bar map sensor there. Already got a set of BR7 EF plugs that are gapped down tight. The only thing that I noticed on this car is there is no boost reference to the fuel pressure regulator. So we will need to get that squared away. But yeah, Mighty Mouse catch can. This is just kind of a basic setup that I'm pretty accustomed to tuning now. So this is a stick shift car, but I love the color on this thing. So anyways, let's get to work. All right, so car strapped down on the dyno. Just got the car warmed up a little bit. This car, like I said, I have had it on the dyno before. Just kind of roughed in the tune before. This car was having a fuel pressure issue. Customer told me that it actually just had a pair of pumps that were bad. It was one of the twin flow aux pumps. Maybe it just had some trash ran through it, something like that. Not real sure. But yeah, so when it was on the dyno before, I'd go to lay into it. Car would be okay. And then obviously it'd start to go lean. Didn't matter how much fuel I put into it, the car was lean. This car, with it being a centrifugal supercharged car, I primarily run these things on speed density. They just drive better all the way around. So yeah, right now just car's warmed up. So I'm going to go ahead on. I'm in vehicle simulation mode on the dyno. I do use a Mustang dyno. This thing is very good at simulating loads. So a lot of guys think that, you know, us as tuners, we're just concerned about wide open throttle, and maybe some tuners they are, but with me, I'm more concerned about drivability. I want the fueling to be as close as possible at any given time. So I drive the car around on the dyno quite a bit, and I usually only do a handful of dyno pulls when it's time for wide open throttle. So what you're going to see is I'm going to do a little partial rip. We'll probably go to like 6,000 or so. The car's probably going to trend rich because of the fuel pressure drop that the car had before. I knew roughly where the VE table needed to be, but I gave him a little bit extra fuel up top just in case he decided to do a rip on the way here. So yeah, going to test that. We should be a little bit low on timing. This car is on ethanol and it has methanol on it. So this is more for me to get fueling squared away, and then I'll start to creep up on timing. Just a quick explanation. I will do a whole video over this, but when I'm working on one of these blower cars like this, I'll go up a half a degree or a degree of timing at a time per pull. As long as I'm seeing 30 horsepower or so gains, it's valid. If I start to get to the point where I'm only seeing a 10 or 15 horsepower gain after a degree of timing, it's no longer valid. Usually at that point, we'll stop the tuning process once air fuel and stuff is corrected, and then we'll take it to the drag strip if it's a drag style car. And I don't mind adding a little bit of timing by watching plugs and watching mile per hour at the track. But on the dyno, I don't like to push these things super hard. So anyway, so we're going to get this going. Like I said, I'm just going to drive it. So I'll just do like a little partial rip in third gear. I don't like to load these cars up with a ton of mile per hour on the dyno. It's hard on the clutch. It's hard on everything. Creates a lot of heat. I mean, again, this thing is good at showing you accurate acceleration rates on dyno. So we don't want to start a car off in fourth gear, 2,000 RPM, as that pull's going to take 45 seconds. So anyway, so we're up. I'm going to do a little bit of a rip. Alright, so stopping the log, you will see that the car did go rich. It actually went very rich. Come up, we ended up at almost 100% injector duty cycle. But if you look over here, we're at 0.644 lambda, which is, I mean, just overly rich. Knock sensor's going off a little bit. That's going to be false knock on this car. The knock sensor sensitivity is set to factory. And with a supercharger, camshaft, all that stuff, you're going to need to make some minor adjustments. I'll show that on a later date. So yeah, I'm going to get to making some adjustments. Obviously, I'm not going to show you everything. This is just a general vlog. I will show you what I'm doing in later videos, but I just want to kind of give you the process of what one of my days are like. So yeah, I'm going to make some adjustments and we'll start to do some actual pulls. Alright, so adjustments have been made. Pulled some fuel off the VE table. No other adjustments so far. Again, right now my only concern is getting air-fuel ratio dialed in correctly. So I'm going to go in and send this file in. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to click the right button. Ignition is on the car, and if you see this error message right here, this just means it didn't disconnect from the scanner. So I'm going to open up the scanner. I'm going to click this disconnect button, and then I'll click right again, and now it's going to send the file in. Now, to those that may be wondering, I am running this specific car on a 2-bar operating system. Again, I will be dialing in the MAF as well, just because I like to make sure everything is done, MAF is tuned, VE table's tuned, all that stuff, but more than likely I'll probably end up running this car on straight speed density. It really comes down to how turbulent the MAF is when cruising down the road. If you're watching MAF frequency in a data log, you'll see it moving like just crazy if the MAF is super turbulent. And what it's going to do is it's going to cause the air-fuel ratio and timing to kind of go all over the place. If you put it in speed density mode, a lot of the times they'll just drive so much better. So that's what we're going to stick with. Anyway, so file's loaded in, and we'll do some more rips. Alright, so if you want to connect inside the car, what you're going to do is you're going to open back up your scanner. We hit connect to vehicle up here, this little blue car. Then to start recording, you're going to hit the red ball, like record button. Alright, so we are recording. Let's see, now right now I am actually in closed loop. I wanted to go ahead on and kind of get an idea where my narrow bands are in comparison to my wideband. So you'll see the wideband numbers are sitting right here. You'll see our short-term fuel trims are right here. So according to the narrow bands, I'm a little bit rich, but you'll actually see that if I pull this amount of fuel off, then it's actually going to lean me out a little bit. So anyway, so I'll make these adjustments. Like I said, right now I'm more concerned about mid-range and wide open throttle, the stuff that I can't duplicate on the street. I do both dyno and street tuning because obviously you drive it on the street as well. So anyway, so let's go on and go for a rip. log right now, you'll see that the car still going rich up top, still going way rich up top. Knock sensors are still going off. Again, not concerned about these at the moment. I will dial those in later. But yeah, just gonna have to pull a bunch more fuel off this thing. This is the nature of tuning. It's just trial and error. We just do it, see what the data tells us, and just keep going back and forth until we're ready to rip. Alright, adjustments have been made again. Just pulled some more fuel off. We're just going to keep going until we're ready. Hopefully it'll be a lot leaner this time. If not, then we may have something else going on. May have a little bit of a meth drip or something like that. But anyways, yep, let's do a pull. Third gear, and I'm just going to roll into it until 6,000 or so. Alright, so stop the log, looking everything over. As you'll see, the car is getting much better. Intake temps and everything seem to look okay right now. Pulls are starting to get a little bit short, so I may need to start working on getting into fourth gear. Car actually looks like it has a little bit of wheel spin once we get up into boost. So far we're making 195 kPa, so a little bit less than 14 pounds or so. So we're 14 pounds, 14.5 degrees. Again, super baby soft. I'm just trying to get air fuel ratio squared away. So I'm going to review this log, go over a little bit more in depth for myself. Again, these first vlogs, I don't want to give you all too much information. We're going to do that as you go. I don't want to confuse you. I also am a professional tuner, so I need to take some more time and not just do this stuff live. So I'm going to do that, probably get a bit of a drink, and I'll come back. Alright, so I pulled some fuel off the car. Hadn't made any other changes besides that. So what we're going to do is I'm going to send this in right now, and we'll do another dyno pull. Again, as always, if you see that error message, disconnect from the scanner. I forget this all the time. Even after 17 years of doing this, I still forget this every single day. Anyway, so disconnected from the scanner, sending in the right button. But yeah, so we pulled fuel off the car. We're going to do a dyno rip. So here goes the first actual power pull. Alright guys, just hopped out of the car. We're going to go over the dyno numbers after that first pull. Obviously you guys saw that was just more of a light on timing, air fuel ratio is pretty clean kind of pull. Have no idea what the car's done, but wanted to show you guys in real time what I see. Keep in mind with timing, we're going to use the dyno just to help us kind of get us in the ballpark, but eventually we'll end up wanting to do a plug read and check some mile an hour for this thing at the track. Alright, so we're going to check out the numbers and we'll discuss them from there. Alright, so here's the results. First pull, light on timing. We're going to look at with weather correction factor, which is right here. With weather correction factor, 680 horsepower, 581 foot-pounds of torque. Again, this is a Mustang dyno. This reads 10% low, so those same numbers will probably be in the 730, 740 wheel range on a dyno jet. I don't care about the numbers personally. I'm just watching gains. The car's going to be fast regardless. That was a 3,000 to 3,600 RPM rip, and here's the graph. If you notice up top, it's not continuing to climb. This is a typical supercharged car. May have some belt slip, so I'm going to review the data log and I can show you from there. Alright, so after looking at the graph on the dyno, I wanted to come back and check out the log. This yellow line right here is map, so it's boost essentially. We may have a touch of slippage. Nothing crazy. It continues to climb, so this could end up just being the nature of the camshaft. I also noticed, okay, now I'm seeing it, timing is starting to fall out. Now we're starting to see the results of this intercooler. So if you look right here, manifold air temp's 140 and climbing even after the pull, 149. Now this is with a factory intake temp sensor. Intake temp sensor on the factory cars are slow. If this thing had a Rife sensor, temperature would probably be way higher than this. So that's what we're starting to see. We're seeing intake temp pulling some timing out of the car, which is obviously what we want to happen. I may be a little bit aggressive with that setting, so I'm going to dig into this tune a little bit more. We'll probably try to stick a degree in it or so. I don't see any issues with this right here, so this, I'm going to assume this is false. So I'll mess with the knock sensor settings a little bit right here in this range, and then I'll use the dyno to show me if that knock is valid or not. After reviewing the video from the tailpipes, I didn't see any puffs. When these cars knock, if you're ever watching a dyno video and the car's pulling clean, and then also you see these quick puffs of smoke, that's usually either a misfire or detonation. But the pull it clean. So again, we'll do some tweaking on that, but we're still light on timing. Again, keep in mind this car's on E85, and I've got full methanol as well that we can spray. So yeah, gonna work on this some more, and we'll do another dyno rip. Alright, so results of second pull. Well, that's a bit aggressive. But with weather correction factor, we're at 691.6 horsepower, 586.6 foot-pounds of torque. That was a 3,600 RPM pull. Looking at the graph, you will see I have the darker reds up here. That is the second pull. This is a result of the first pull. Now, I want you guys to know that this timing graph that I started off with, I tune a lot of stock bottom end cars. So I started off with that. I knew this thing could obviously take it. But it looks like I was actually right on the money just about, except for maybe up top. This is about a 22-ish horsepower difference. So I may split this and just call this an extra half a degree right here. But everywhere else, I'm just gonna I'll just pull that degree out, and we're just gonna roll with that. So again, this is a whole bunch of power in a C6 Grand Sport like this. Car is absolutely beautiful. I'm gonna load in this final tune. I'll do one more dyno pull. I won't film that though. Get this thing wrapped up on the dyno, and then I'll take it out on the street, verify drivability, and I will be done with this car. And this is the first car of the day. All right, guys, just talked to the customer. Again, this car had methanol on it. Intake temp's starting to get a little bit warm. Obviously, it wasn't picking up power on timing like what we expected. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna call it quits for here. I'm gonna finish it up on the street, make sure all that stuff is good. He's gonna end up replacing this intercooler with a much larger intercooler. And we're gonna keep the car off of meth. We're just gonna keep it on pump ethanol, and we're gonna turn up some boost and try to get this thing around 800, 850 wheel on this dyno. But since we're talking about the intercooler, let me go on and show you this thing and get you to understand why this thing is acting the way it is. All right, so getting under the front of this car, you will see this intercooler. Let me go back. See how it's only, maybe 2/3 of the size of the front bumper opening. This is the ECS kit. I'll show you the blower. But this is their smaller kit. Absolutely nothing wrong with this kit. It's just designed for basically stock bottom end cars on mild boost levels. So yeah, we've done talked about this. He's gonna pull this thing off and end up putting like a 6-inch core intercooler or something in there. Something that'll help him do these pulls. He likes to do these say rolls at the track, 40 to 140, something like that. So yeah. All right, I know you guys have been hearing me talk about intake temps, and we really hadn't discussed as to why that's a big deal or not, but we'll just say roughly 1 degree of manifold air temp is equivalent to roughly 1 horsepower. So if this thing's jumping up 60, 70, 80 degrees during a run, he's gonna be losing 60 or 70 or 80 horsepower. I can do a video on back-to-back pulls showing intake temp change versus power change, but again, if he's going to be wanting to run this thing at 140 plus mile an hour, longer pulls, we don't want intake temps killing this engine. Detonation obviously is going to be a big issue, and even though pump E85 is very, very good at tolerating intake temps, it is not bulletproof. So again, instead of trying to band-aid it with the methanol, I'm not a huge fan of trusting methanol. It's $150 pump, and you got to worry about it failing, and if it fails, then you could blow an engine. So we're just going to mechanically fix this with a massive intercooler. Get this Wideband out of here and get on the street and finish up our tune. All right, guys, just got wrapped up on the dyno, taking this thing cruising up the street. I still had to work on hot restart and a couple other little things, but for the most part I'd gone through a full retune on this car. He had purchased it and the car made good power supposedly, but the tune drivability was awful. So his biggest goal for bringing it in for tuning was to make it drive better and to get the car to where it's not relying on the methanol injection. So anyway, so we're just cruising around, laptop's running, just double checking. Like I said, I want to make sure it takes off good, hot starts good, everything else does good. Don't want any dips or anything when you clutch it in. Just like right now we're cruising. I mean, you can see I'm just kind of lugging the car. I can actually go ahead on and upshift it, and you'll see no surge, nothing weird. It's a nice day to drive a stick shift C6, pretty day in Nashville, Tennessee. So anyways, gonna continue my drive and then wrap this thing up. All right guys, so just gonna wrap the video up here. Hope you guys like the tuning of the C6 Grand Sport. Here, let me open up this exhaust for you so you can hear what this thing sounds like. It does have mild to wild on it. Yeah, wrap it up here. Again, don't know what camshaft this is. Thing made good power. Really enjoyed tuning on this car. Let me know what you guys think about this style of video. Obviously, a lot of guys like the vlog style video. I pretty much have an unlimited amount of content that I can make. So if you want to see more stuff like this, just let me know. Leave me a comment if there's something I need to change. I'll work on getting better microphones, things like that. But if you think of anything that I need to do, just let me know. Give me a thumbs up, subscribe, and I'll talk to you guys later. Y'all have a good day.